Hi, welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. We're going to continue our journey in exploring one new Chinese expression a day. Yesterday, we talked about some highbrow, culturally passed down wisdom, which is to acknowledge that it's really difficult to predict heavenly intent. You are humans as an agent in the environment of nature or evolution or whatever framework you want to put us in. Like we versus environment is really difficult to predict the environment because environment is much more complex system with many interactions and many agents in that. You just cannot, as an individual, to predict what's going to happen. And even on a large scale, to predict longer trends, it's difficult. It's really difficult. So that's culturally acknowledging that's 天意难测. And another more layman expression is 天有不测风云. We specifically symbolize the unpredictability with weather. And the 风云 is the wind and the cloud. It's really difficult to predict. And when I hear 不测风云, it's almost like something, kind of doomsday vision of bad weather day. Like it's hard to predict. And over here, 天意难测 is a very brief way to say it's really hard to guess heavenly intent. Today we have an yi and a nan carry over to this 3-character expression. And this 3-character expression got a second life, got a comeback. So this 3-character expression is like 1,000 years old, came from some ancient text from Song dynasty. I think Song is 1,000 years ago. And then it was, as many of the Chinese expressions in ancient texts or classical literature, like some got revived and applied to contemporary living and got a comeback. And some just got, like, I guess majority got sinking down, like it's not relatable to today's world anymore. And so those expressions we seldom heard or use in our lives anymore. So this one, 意难平, all of a sudden become a hot social media expression. I heard it so many times, and today I'm going to unpack it with you. So we have 意 and 难 from the previous, and it's about the same, except here, when we talk about 意, we have heavenly intent, and also earlier episode, we have 人意. It's a human intent, almost like a human's goal or human's expectation, something we kind of enforced on ourselves, right? That's 人意. And the 天意 is the environment enforced constraint on humans. And here, 意难平, whose 意 that is talking about humans, because when we are talking about like flatten out, appease, right? That's try to calm down the unmet expectations. So we set ourselves up with such high-reaching goals or something we expect ourselves or our lives. And when things are not going our way, then we're not flat anymore. We're not tranquil anymore. And that's why Chinese phrase in here is to say, okay, this is really difficult to the desire or the expectations or the frustrations or whatever emotion you want to pack in there. I here translate as desire because that's the easiest target in English to say, well, desire probably is not a good thing because you're going to get burned when things not going your way. Your wants and needs are not met. And then that's when it's difficult to appease. Okay, again, Why here it becomes desire? I mean, it's highly interpretable because we have a heart up there. Whenever we have a heart, it's up for personal experience, and therefore you cannot really judge somebody else's desire as something, you know, you cannot, it's their own personal thing, right? If somebody desires something, some goal, or some person, right, it's not up to somebody else to judge if that's legit or not. But overall, we can all relate to this human desire, even if, like, I translate it as a desire, right? But originally it means the music of the heart, which is much, much, much more peaceful meaning, right? Because music, I don't know if you ever heard Chinese music. A lot of times it's a slow moving, kind of sad music. At least the contemporary imagined old Chinese music. It's not like African music with very lively beats with a lot of body movements. You want to dance to that type of music. Chinese music is not danceable. It's highly undanceable. It's this long, extending, wailing sound of okay, I'm not going to down putting Chinese music because I myself play Chinese music, and it's enjoyable in its own way. It's almost like your meditation through music. It's not very rhythmic, let's say. So, but still, like, I try to imagine the music of the heart. It means it's like that's your, almost like you're represented your consciousness, right? Through music language. So besides verbal language, we have music language. And music language probably is more direct. Like music can hit us harder than words sometimes, right? So this music, because it's not through words, therefore it's more abstract. And whatever tingling you get from your nerves, hearing nerves, it gets you, you can relate in a non-verbal way. And it's probably more visceral that way because it's not concrete into a particular concept. It's more like attaching to emotions. So the music of the heart is a Chinese poetic way to say it's your consciousness, your want, your goal, your intention. Okay, heart symbol is simply a chamber with input tube, output tube, and a tube to connect to power the heart itself. So 3 tubes connected to this chamber. That's what heart is. It's a pump. And the top is the music symbol. It came from this vocal singing. We have the mouth symbol because singing from the mouth, right? And then we have this pointer of convex connected with vertical line, kind of looking like this, right here. And that's an abstract indicator to mean you're from this convex space going as if like spearheading into some new space. And then we have this horizontal up-tilted, stylized up-tilted. It's an indicator to mean, okay, this is the new space that we're actually talking about. That from the old space to the new space. And here is where we're going, the new space. So that means it's inside something, or you're entering this new space. This is entering this, this is the new space you're talking about. And when we have this indicator of spacing transition pointed toward the mouth, that means it's inside the mouth. So it's entering inside the mouth, and this new space is the indicator to me is the inside of the mouth. And then the horizontal line means a sweet, because candy or sweetness probably was more ancient than we think. So it occurs in the language. Means at the beginning of language representing sweetness, we already have this idea of something tastes good, we want to hold it in our mouth for a long time. So that's kind of addictive, right? And that's showing in here. And the 2 horizontal lines simply is sound bites traveling through time and space, and it's diminishing, one longer than the other one. So we have the result of vocalizing, and we have the organs to vocalize, and we have the quality of vocalize, which is sweet. So the whole thing means sweet singing. No, sweet speaking, actually. We have the sound bites making because majority of the time we are speaking, right? With our organs, with the sound bites traveling, that's mostly speaking. But one is a sweet speaking is singing. That makes sense, right? Singing is kind of a singing lyrics. So it's a message going out, but it got melody to go with it. So it's pleasant to the ear. The message is better received that way, right? So that's singing. So eventually it got this in character on the top and the xin on the character on the bottom. The in becomes extended into all kinds of music making, not just vocal music. So the music of heart, that's desire. I still like it that way. Okay, heart means, I mean, it made out of the bird symbol. It's a very visual bird. I'm not going to explain it again. You can check out my last episode, but this is a visual bird, and this is a cooking of the bird. I interpret it as chop up the bird, the bones, and then put it in a pot here, and the pot is standing over the ground. So probably, here the space is to put your fuse over there so that you can heat the pot over here. That's kind of a universal, right? It's cooking the bird is a difficult endeavor. So probably that's why this normal food making process was extended or borrowed into meaning of difficulty or hard. So desire, hard, and of course, Chinese doesn't have small words like hard to appease, right? So there, that to was omitted, but we directly say nanping is hard to please, okay? Ping came from the lower frame to upper frame, means the air of your breath traveling through space. And then more airs. It's almost like a water sign, right? It has a main stream, and then you have a side stream, and you have a first block, second block. So probably that's the channels of your pipe coming out from your lungs, the air coming out of your lungs through the mouth chamber to make sound. And ancient times, Chinese emphasized the speaking, the pronunciation, make tones like flatter or the air more distributed. So it's not a screechy, high-pitched or too fast-paced sound. It sounds more peaceful that way. So that's a preferred way of speaking. And from this evenly distributed air through obstacles to making the sound, we extend that one into the meaning of appease. It means there's no spikes in it. Everything is flat. And that's the preferred quality. So yi nan ping, desire, hard to appease. And I find probably, okay, I translate it as unpacified, but yi nan ping is more appropriately to be unpacifiable, right? It's some emotions of you that you just cannot contain, you cannot quiet down. It's something inside you have to let it out. You cannot hold anymore. And I feel that type of emotion is very well illustrated by the hot show on Netflix in 2023, Beef. And you can see their angry face, right? It's their own long time cooked emotions built in within themselves, accumulated over time. So from the younger childhood all the way to their adulthood, probably 2 decades at least, this anger or inner frustration of whatever that emotion that culturally is not allowed to express, externalize. They have held them for a long time within themselves. And finally, this too, sharing similar conditions of their internal volcano, right? They clash in a car crash, not crash even. It's a small road rage situation, but exploded out of proportion, escalating. So the whole drama built on that internal volcano erupting uncontrollably through 10 episodes of that. And I think that the drama in that show was very well illustrating this concept of Chinese called Yi Nan Ping. And it's, you can actually, this Yi, you can pack in not just anger, frustration, that's hard to piece. You can also pack good meanings like a pleasure, something desirable that you enjoy it so much, it's hard to quiet down. Like you enjoy a good show or good food, you like it so much, and then later on you're reminiscing over what you just had, and you feel like, oh, that's yi nanping as well. So both positive or negative feelings of this yi, you can, that's the freedom of Chinese. You can pack in according to the context, your own personal thing in the phrase, and it's more versatile in that way. And I try and translate it as unpacified. And I think in English, unpacified probably means, strong, volatile emotions. That probably sounds negative, right? But again, this negative positive is culturally attuned. Who said like to have volatility of emotions is a bad thing? That's a cultural judgment over there. So as someone came from the more emotionally constrained culture, I feel like, well, if in 2023 we are allowed to express ourselves, our frustrations or our pleasures, more like externalize it, let our friends, our family, our partners know that what we like or don't like strongly, externalize, verbalize it or act it out, whatever. That's such a treat, right? That's such a liberation of our caged emotions, like a slow cooking volcano inside you. So that's 意难平 in Chinese. Cash intercurrency of thinking about one word a day with Sophie. See you another day.